Shalom. I want to start by giving all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Hashem Makakodash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Salutation to the awful elect. Alright, and to the men that are pushing this truth in the four corners of the earth in all sincerity. Right? This is the brother Zakaria here again with another lesson. And this lesson gonna be based around a situation that happened, here today, actually, right? Not too far from where, I currently live in, right? It's a situation whereby two men kill themselves, over, you could say over a female, right? One was her child father, and one was her new man, right? And there's just go to show that, hey, this common thing that we have in the so-called, the so-called black community, all right, which is, the Israelites, all right, that a woman having 2, 3, 4 child father, is not good. All right. The Most I really intended for a woman to have one child father, and if the man die, when she still capable of bearing children, then she should get with his brother, all right, or one of his close male relative, all right, right? So, hey, again, our praises to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai that, brothers in this truth are enlightened and wouldn't make, are not prone to making certain mistake as two-third, right? But without further ado, I'm gonna read some of the story, and then we can get into a few precepts, right? It says, Beirut murder update. Emily Adelph called Shakwanza, the young mother of one over whom two men fought and died on Saturday, which is today's date that I'm making this video, said that the father of her child was the aggressor in the confrontation, which turned deadly for him and his replacement. All right. It says, yeah, because that man probably still had, well, not probably, that man still wanted her. All right. She probably break up with him over some bullshit. All right, which is actually adultery. All right. When a woman break up with her man over, just a little bullshit, all right, she shouldn't break up with him, period, actually, right? And she going and take a new man, there's actually adultery, all right? Yahushua actually broke that down, right? It says, police sources said that the young woman indicated that she and Jonathan Hassan shared a child from an earlier relationship but had ended. However, they still communicated due to the child, right? Yeah, but come to find out, he was by her having his ear braided, all right, and the doesn't have anything to do with the child, all right. So she totally out of order, right? Because if she's saying that they done, all right, and she move on with someone else, then she shouldn't be having him around, right? At her new man place, right? You know, it said on Saturday, Hassan visited the home where she is renting in Beirut and asked her to plait his ear. After some hesitation, she agreed. Joshua James, who she has been dating as of recent, showed up at the home and saw Hassan. He cautioned Hassan that he should not be coming there as it is inappropriate, and Hassan became upset. Yeah, which the second fella James, right? He was right. What they was doing is totally out of order. But he should have talked to his woman. His woman should have known better. All right. You can't be having. This type of closeness with another man, right? Whilst in a relationship with someone else, allegedly, right? Right, it says, he then dared James to remove him from the house, and there was a heated exchange, right? So, then the egos start flying, right? Because let's say our current man, right? He feels like his territory is being invaded, which it is, right? So, he letting how he feel be known, and the other fellow, he won't allow his ego to be bruised like that. So, emotions fly, and the two of them end up stabbing each other, right? And surprisingly, both of them died. All right, which is the whole point of this lesson, right? Let me actually read this precept. Let's get right to the point with it. This is 1 Ezra chapter 4 verse 26. It says, yea, many there be that have run out of their wits for women and become servant for their sake, right? Because this new fellow that she dating, probably was paying all the bills, all right, minding another man's child and all these things. So, when he see the child father in his territory, all right, he probably thinking this man enjoying, other benefits from his child mother, other than just having his hair braided, right? Which is a common thing, all right? A lot of these women still fucking the child father years after they break up, and she supposedly seeing a new man, all right? It says, then dear James to remove him from the house, and there was a heated exchange in which, in the process, Hassan rushed to the kitchen and armed himself with a knife, and they began fighting. Shakwanza explained to the police that she saw Hassan over James stabbing him Yeah, Salaki about her. Yeah, right. It says Shaquanza explained that to the police that she saw Hassan over James stabbing him multiple times, and she grabbed her child and ran to seek help. But shortly after, she saw James exiting the yard to get to his vehicle, but collapsed and died. Yes. Please insert an SD card. Salaki about that again. Anyway, it says she grabbed her child and ran to seek help, but shortly after saw James exiting the yard to get to his vehicle, but collapsed and died. She also recalled that moments later, Hassan exited the yard also, left on his motorcycle, but she was later informed that he died. The police investigation are ongoing. Alright, so yeah. Right, but what she doing is trying to paint her, she current man in a light image, but it doesn't matter. Both of them are already dead. Alright. Over a piece of ass. Alright, and this is the individual. You could see her on the screen. She looked like she got a fat piece of ass, but was probably hit. Alright, because this whole situation already shows that she is a woman that is out to order. Alright, because look at the way that she's dressed in this photo. All right, and then to have something like your child father visiting your place of stay and having his hair braided, this totally out of line. All right, so, but hey, too, is on men to know what type of relationship to have with these women, with these type of women, because they aren't settled down material. All right, they aren't wife material. Right, so don't get it twisted. Right, it's still on you as a man. Right, which is why I read the precept. It says, yea, many there be that run out of their wits for women. Right, because the elder apostles, all right, can Salaki about that again. Just having some fellas here appears to be riding away from the police. So this is a usually quiet area, upscale area, but hey, I guess that's how the devil is work. All right, because the same thing happened when I was at home. I tried to shoot a video and neighbors start playing music, right, from 1 in the afternoon all the way up to like 8 in the night when I was about to leave. Right, but hey, that's the devil. Right, this is I can check first Esdras 4 and verse 27. It says many, I was saying, right, verse 26, yea, many there be that run out of their wits for women. Right, because the elder apostles, as I always say, hey brothers, don't deal with these black women. All right, don't deal with single mothers. Don't deal with these type of people. Right, as a word of advice. Right, so one thing I heard the apostle, I think it was Elder Apostle Tar, he said, when a black man gets with a black woman, it's because he couldn't do no better and she couldn't do no worse. All right. It's basically, and he's talking about these, ghetto, these niggas and these bitches. All right. Usually those relationships are terrible, and usually violent as well. All right. A lot of black women, they have a lot of relationship trauma. All right. That is why it's advisable that you stay away from them. Right? Because you don't need all the drama in your life. All right. It could cause you everything. All right. And this is not the only situation like this that everybody knows. All right. These type of things happen every day. Now, it may not always result in both parties dying or anybody dying, but it usually results in something very bad. All right. So hey, just stay away from some of these women, bro. Especially the black woman. All right. All she has is a fat piece of ass, and that is it. It kind of says, continue on. It says, and become servants for their sakes. All right. Yeah, because like I said earlier, this fella, the new man, probably was paying all the bills, taking care of another man's child. And a lot of Jake men are doing this type of thing right now. A lot of Jake men is doing this type of thing right now. And the women, they're just doing whatever. All right. I've a nigga mind another nigga kids. All right. Pay all the bills and still go out and cheat on the nigga. All right. Still go out and cheat on him. Verse 27, it says, many also have perished. Right, because these two fellas, they lost everything. All right. There's no coming back from. I mean, hey, we believe in reincarnation, right? But in this lifetime, the two of them, they don't have a second chance in this lifetime. All right, at anything. Those spirits gone back to the Most High. Those bodies are done. All right. And both of them look like they was in the mid to late 20s, 27, it says, many also have perished and erred and sinned for women. All right. Right, so hey, there's just a quick edifying video. All right, with that, I say shalom. All praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham Makar Kadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. I say shalom.